Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Nine Oak, can you hear me? Okay, yes, I can see some responses. So that means I am audible. Yes. Okay, good afternoon to all of you, those who are present. Okay. And again today we are going to deal with the peculiar idea of Hitler, and we will continue with it. We are going to try to understand what actually he wanted to do. Okay, so today we will try to understand the racial utopia. Okay, the racial utopia we are going to understand today. Now, what is utopia? Any idea? What is the meaning of utopia? In your book, I think the meaning is given, but still, any idea? Like Shraddha, Suhana, Mohak, any idea that what is the meaning of utopia? Okay, so the meaning of utopia means a dreamland, means a land which practically is not possible to be there. Practically, it's not possible to make a land like that. It's not possible. That is called utopia. I think when you were small kids, you have read about many fairy tales like Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty, like that. So you see that in Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty, there are magics, they work. But in our lives, magic doesn't work. In Cinderella, the pumpkin becomes the horse carriage, right? But in our lives, that doesn't happen. And in one of my favorite fairy tale, that is Hansel and Gretel, I don't know whether you have heard it or not, that two brothers and sisters were there. They used to walk, and they don't used to walk, means their father dropped them, their stepfather, he doesn't want the children, so the stepfather dropped these two children in the middle of the jungle, and they lost their ways to home. So they start walking in the forest, and suddenly they saw a beautiful house which is made of chocolates, ice creams, pastries, cakes, jellies, creams, cream biscuits and all. Means whatever you like to eat, all those things were there, and the total house was made of all these. So Hansel and Gretel ran to that house, and they started breaking some of the windows, some of the doors of that particular house, and started eating them. And suddenly the witch came out of nowhere, and that was the house of a witch. So that house is like an utopia. That house actually in today's world, in the world where me and you live, does not exist or could not exist. So that is utopia. So Hitler, he wanted to create a racial utopia, which means he wanted to create something which is absolutely cannot be there, absolutely cannot be made through these kind of things, right? So what he wanted? He wanted to create a land, a piece of land which will be free of undesirable human being. And this undesirable is definitely according to his idea. Genocide and war became two sides of the same coin. What is the meaning of genocide? Genocide means mass killing. Hitler occupied Poland. Much of the north of Poland was annexed. Poles were forced to leave their homes and sent to the concentration camps. They were sent to the concentration camp through trains. They had two railways, one for entering the concentration camp and another for exiting the concentration camps. And in the page 63 of your book, you can see the image. This was like the train carriage. It looks like a goods train. Yes, there was no windows, there was no chairs. The people were stacked in that, and the doors were closed and then locked, right? And then the train starts moving and you have to stand there without holding anything. If you fall down, you have to hold somebody else who is standing in front of you. And if you could not take a breath, because it's very stuffy, because in the small carriages mostly it's full of capacity, more than the capacity was entered, and then when you reach the destination, the doors are open, and when the doors are open, mostly all the people who were inside, who were standing, mostly they were dead. Some of them were alive, so they were taken to the concentration camps. Just imagine, you are put inside a railway carriage where there is no seat, there is no toilet, there is no provision for water, there is no window for air to pass. You have to stand, and the train journeys took sometimes 72 hours. 3 days you have to stand like this. So old people, they died in the journey only, and that's not a point. If you are dead, you are dead. If you are not dead, come, you are welcome to the concentration camp. Okay, fine. Polish children who look like Aryans were forcibly snatched from their mothers and examined by the race experts. If they passed the race test, they were raised in German families. Just imagine, because Polish people, they also look like the Aryans. They also have sharp features, their skin is also very whitish, they have blonde hair, means the golden hair, their eyes are also blue. So if some children, they look like Aryan children, they are taken away from their parents, and after a racial test, quote unquote racial test, what were tested and what questions were done, which material were tested, blood or cells, we don't know. But the race experts, again quote unquote, if they say that this is good, they are matched to the Aryans, so they were given to any German family. Just imagine, if you look like Germans, then also a problem. If you don't look like a German, then there is also a problem. So which, where to go? They were nowhere to escape. Hitler was everywhere, and Hitler's soldiers were everywhere. Okay, fine. So with some of the largest ghettos and gas chambers, the general government also served as the killing fields for the Jews. So what I said yesterday, that the ghettos were the places where before sending the persons to the concentration camp, the Jews or the Polish people or the gypsies or the mental and physically challenged people, they were kept. So these ghettos also became the killing killing stations where gas chambers were installed. And gas chamber is a very nice concept, you know, that the gas chamber is like a room where showers are fixed on the wall, not wall, in the ceiling, the showers are there, the faucet is there. It was told to the people that you are taken for a shower, and separately, sometimes separately male and female, sometimes together. It was told that you have to take out, you have to shed all of your clothes outside, and naked you have to enter the room. When you enter, you see that there is no windows, there is only one door, and that too is an iron door. After you enter, the door will be closed and water will start coming from those shower faucets. You feel good that okay, water is coming after a long time, at least I am getting some water for washing my skin, for washing myself. Then through that faucet, the poisonous gas will be given, and within 2 minutes you will be unable to take a breath. There are no way where you can go outside. If you start thumping the iron door, the door is not going to open. There are no windows, there are no ceiling, only it's all packed. And this type of gas chambers, and within 2 minutes all dead. Then after all dead, the iron door had a glass kind of a place where you can see it, like you have in your school doors. You can check that. And okay, so you can check that through outside it's visible that who is doing what. So like that you can also look outside, but that provision was not present in the gas chambers. So after few minutes over, when the gas has gone, then the doors were open, and the soldiers, the German soldiers, they enter the room with a gas mask, and then they took the dead bodies and throw it in a place, or they just burn it, right? And you know that sometimes as I told, that their hairs were shaved, so from those huge amount of hairs, very beautiful wigs were made, which were used by the German ladies and gents in Germany. From the body fat, of human being, after they were killed in the gas chambers, phenyls and soaps were made, which was sold in the German market by the Nazi government. This was like this. Like in your book, you have some pictures. The pictures are not good quality, but still you can see. It's in page number 64 and 65. You can see a heap, figure number 19. You can see a heap of clothes. These people, they have died in the concentration camps. Here are the pile of, figure number 22, here are a pile of shoes which were taken out from the Jews when they entered the concentration camps. And the concentration camps, they look like this, figure number 20. And I think this question is just roaming in your head, that why don't they try to leave the place? Why don't they started a revolt? See figure number 18. This man, he was trying to escape the concentration camp. The white thing are snow, and these wares are electrified. So when you try to escape, first you will be electrified, and then if you can escape the electric wares, German soldiers were posted in everywhere, so they will shoot you. So this man is really figure number 18, that this man is hanging on the wares. He was killed. And this was very common. This was very common in Nazi Germany. People know it, that this is the thing, this is the way things will go. But nobody protested because nobody had the power to protest. Nobody had the, what I can say, the will to protest, because the will, the confidence, the power, everything was shattered, everything was broken by the Nazi government. This is how Hitler used to think. This is how the Nazis used to think. And this whole concentration camp and the process of gas chamber and the mass killing, the genocide, the racial utopia, whatever we are talking right now, was hidden from the rest of the world. People, they did not know about it. When the Second World War broke, and after 1942, when US joined the Second World War, Hitler started to lose the war, then people started to know the crime against humanity. And thus, the world came to know. If you go to Europe, if anyone who are listening, that if you study history and if you go to Europe, you will see that a special degree course is available for particular this kind of history. And the concentration camps which were there, one of the very famous, or I can say infamous, concentration camp of Poland is Auschwitz, and it's the biggest concentration camp where a huge number of people were killed. So if you visit Auschwitz, things are completely same. And I have heard many stories of visitors who have visited the concentration camp. They have come out of the concentration camp and said that they could not sleep for nights because the terror which they have seen in the concentration camp nowadays. Just imagine the people who have faced it. Okay? Now we will also see that what was Hitler's idea, what was Hitler's take on the youth. Hitler always loved the youth. Hitler always preferred the youth and school children. Why, you know? He always loved the school children of Germany. Why? Because they are going to be the future of the country. If Hitler can introduce his ideas within them, then in future Hitler have no problem. Hitler will have no problem in his future telling people that what he thinks, what he wants, and how he wants to do it. That's why he loved school children, but definitely German children, not the Jews. Not the Jews, definitely. So, he felt that a strong Nazi society could be established only by teaching children the Nazi ideology. The Nazi ideology which I was talking to you before this, that has to be taught to the children in the school. And then a Nazi society will be created. That means a child has to be in control from inside and outside school. And to make this happen, the schools were cleansed and purified. What does this cleanse means? Cleanse means not the taking a broom and taking some pocha and taking the phenyl and cleaning it. No. Purified. It doesn't mean that it's sanitized. No. It means all the Jew children were taken out of the school. All the Polish children were taken out of the school, and the schools were made only for the German people. German children. And from the teachers also. Those who were the Jew teachers, fired. Those who were the Polish teachers, fired. Anyone other than Nordic German race could not be a teacher, and without having a Nazi ideology, no one could become a teacher. Whether you know the fact doesn't matter. Whether you have education doesn't matter. If you are a follower of Nazi, if you are a worshipper of Hitler, then you can become the teacher and you have a permanent job in the school. And the schools are only for the German people, right? Okay, I'll stop here today and we'll continue next day from this. Any doubts? Any doubts? Any questions? Otherwise, I will end the class here. Okay, fine. So, next day I'll end the class here. So, have a nice day and goodbye.